Hello, 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 hello. Let's see how to poll. Hi, just putting my questionnaire over here. I don't need to block my face, but it doesn't want to move. All right, I'm gonna make do with this. Ooh, is it covering my face? All right, let's see. I gotta figure out how to move this. Hi everyone, drag here to end. No, I don't want to end it. I want to move it away, but let me see if I can minimize it. Okay, I can minimize it a little bit. There we go. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to talk a little bit on this live that I usually do on Monday afternoon in Eastern Standard Time. Going to talk about the impact of trauma and stress and how that can increase your risk for cancers. If you're joining me today on this live, thank you so much for checking me out. Leave me a comment, share this live, and let's talk about stress management. Happy new month. Happy new month of March. And in the East Coast, we are almost in the spring. Yay, and the small sunshine. But if you have experienced cancer, if you know any family members who have experienced cancer, it's not the sole, it's not a direct causation of cancers, but definitely having a lot of ongoing stress can increase your risks for getting cancers. So I was doing my research and a few things that I came across. It says while stress doesn't directly cause cancer, it can impact a person's health and quality of life, which may affect cancer risk. So I'll talk about some of the ways to manage the risk in order for it not to impact your quality of life as we go through the live today. Leave me in a comment. Hi everyone, thank you for checking me out. My name is Eno. Hi Eno, thank you. Oh, thank you for all the way from Brazil. I appreciate you tuning in. What time is it there? And do you know anyone who might be experiencing cancer-related symptoms or might be recently or in the past diagnosed with cancer? And especially with a little emphasis on ladies as we approach International Women's Day on March 8th. So March 8th, I think it's next week. Yeah, International Women's Day as we fight for the right of women, equality and empowerment. This is another video to empower women, empower young ladies. on how to take care of ourselves in order to minimize our risk for cancers, all types of cancers. Hi, thank you. Thank you, Badu, for checking me out. Thank you. I appreciate you checking my live out today. Um, so one of the ways to minimize stress and stressors is in your relationships, right? So in your family relationships, in your work relationships, in your intimate relationships, how is your stress level like when you're dealing on the day to day, and how do you recognize if you are in a highly toxic, stressful environment and that's continuing to impact you overall? There's a lot of research on especially women who get diagnosed with cancer and how a lot of time their intimate partners will abandon them. Oh, good morning. Wow. It's morning where you are. It's evening here where I am from. Wow. This world is interesting. It might be evening at one place and somewhere else it's morning time. Wow. So if you find yourself in a relationship where it seems like you're doing a lot to keep the relationship going, you're constantly having panic attacks, you're tense, your back might be tense, your neck might be tense, you're experiencing a lot of headaches, migraines, you might be having a lot of trouble with your GI system because our brain and our GI system are linked. So you might be experiencing a lot of GI stress. This is why when I used to work in ICU, there might be people showing up a lot with bowel blockages. It might be related to diet, but also the quality of your diet can be directly related to your stress level, might be directly related to your trauma, ongoing trauma, and as well as childhood trauma. So trauma and stress have a lot of impact on our physical health and our risk for different conditions such as cancer, even to things like Alzheimer's and dementia. So it's so important, especially as women, to center ourselves in order to minimize the risk for getting any type of cancer. These days with technology, yes, there are ways in which some of these cancers, when caught early, can be mitigated, that you don't end up with a lot of not relapse, I shouldn't say, I'm trying to find the right word, might end up being in remission quicker if it's caught in time. But if it's not, how do you manage your stress and your trauma levels in order to minimize your risk? In order for you to even be mentally sound enough to get regular checkups, even to be mentally sound enough to know when your body might be off. Do you know yourself enough to know when, oh, I think something might be wrong? To realize, okay, your bowel, your frequency of your bowel has changed. To know maybe your breast might be a different way. Are you doing your checkups? Are you doing your doctor's visits? When you have referrals, are you following through to do your visit, to see a GI specialist, to see whatever specialty your GP might have suggested? Because if you have ongoing stress and trauma, ongoing, you're in fight or flight mode, you are in survival mode all the time, it doesn't leave you enough mental capacity, mental bandwidth for you to go in and get yourself checked out in regards to your physical health, and then enough time to leave to check your mental health and to make sure that you're doing okay and staying okay. So way it says to minimize it, coping with stress could be expressing your feelings. So when you express your feelings, do you have a partner who is safe? Do you have friends, a community who are safe enough for you to express your feelings of stress? Where are your stresses coming from? Is that financial stress? Do you have a boatload of medical issues that's causing you more stress? And that stress is causing your body to constantly produce cortisol, and more cortisol you have, the more you're gonna have more markers for things like cancer, early dementia, Alzheimer's disease, lack of focus, lack of attention, depression, insomnia, obesity, diabetes, name it, autoimmune disorders, chronic pain, name it. It's all mishmash of all these things. So if in absence of safe community, in absence of safe partners that you can express your feelings, let it out, get perspective, you have to find a therapist. Okay? And a lot of therapists sometimes will work pro bono, or there are some therapists who will take state insurance, like where I am in the East Coast, we have something called state insurance, and it's free. So you use your insurance, you do your session, you don't have to pay anything. There are some mental health providers who therapists who will do therapy for you to express your stress by giving you a payment plan, by maybe discounting your sessions. If you're signed up for maybe 4 sessions, they will give you 1 for free. You see that? So there are ways, but you have to find an outlet to let that stress out, to get perspective, to get support, especially for some of us who are like the empathetic person in the family, the one who's always taking up the stress of everybody in the environment. You're just like a big balloon, balloon, and then if you let out, like it's just gonna explode. So, but at least if you have an outlet and you can let it out, you're gonna like, that feels much better. But you do have to find a safe space to express your feelings, express your frustrations, express it, and knowing that not every therapist might align with you, not every counselor might align with you, not every, maybe if you're using your pastor, for example, as an outlet, you have to be able to be in a space where you can vet your therapist, you can date your therapist, you can date your pastor. Don't truly date, but vet them to see if they align with you. Because one thing I've learned is, even in those spaces, if your personality type is different and you don't align, you're clashing, or their experience is so far different from my experience and their perspective is so different and they're rather provoking or triggering you more than giving you help, it might be time for you, and it's okay for you to look elsewhere for a therapist, a counselor, a pastor, an outlet, even friendships. You gotta vet, vet, and find safe, reliable people that you can fall on to express your feelings. Hello, Tattoo. Learning to put myself you had first. Thank you, Tattoo, for saying that. It's so important to put yourself first to minimize the likelihood of us getting some of this diagnosis. I worked in the ICU for many years before transitioning over to doing mental health services. And the number of women that come in, especially when they are diagnosed with chronic illness like cancer, especially if it's beyond stage 1, many women find out their partners just leave them. They leave them, they don't stay with them. There are a lot of marriages where when the woman is diagnosed with a chronic illness, such as cancers, their partners start cheating, start distancing themselves, start being cold, maybe out of fear, but they won't express it, especially if you're from cultures like where I come from in Ghana, Africa. A lot of men are not taught to express their feelings or their emotions, so you are in that battle for themselves. But when the reverse is the truth, we women will put aside everything, including our jobs, to take care of the man. Have you ever seen a man who will postpone their work, postpone their careers, postpone their businesses to take care of you as a woman? Likely maybe 1%. So this is why it's important, like how Tato said, learning to put yourself first, learning to center yourself, because these are real, and then if you're in fight or flight mode, you don't have enough time within yourself to even recognize when you have a change happening, and then recognizing the change and going in to seek help from your GP. Your GP sends you for a referral to a specialist, to have time to go and follow through to that specialist to make sure you're checked out, to do all the testing necessary to make sure, okay, where am I? Is this really just a scare, or is it a true cancer? Because stress, ongoing stress, constant stress, really can do a number, including change some of the markers within our bodies that can cause women to have cancers, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, even, GI related cancers. A lot of women experience bloating, constipation, diarrhea, um, Crohn's disease. All those things are things that can elevate your markers and that can put you more at risk for diagnosis of the actual cancer. And God forbid, if you get diagnosed as a stage beyond one, then that means you need to do more treatment. And that's when sometimes women then start to like scale back on not having stress or eating healthier, going to the gym, taking care of themselves, drinking water. But the thing is, prevention is better than cure. So knowing these things, knowing that ongoing stress, see, small T trauma, big T trauma. Small T trauma being meaning you're exposed to constant stress at small doses all the time. See, it's like you're smelling like carcinogen, like toxic gas, but it's a small amount, or like you're exposed to mold and you're in that exposure environment by slow exposure over time, and next thing you know, boom, you get a really serious condition. And then that's why I had a friend once that had that. She was in a stressful, chaotic, abusive relationship. Yeah, so true. Thank you, Tato. Yeah, Tato, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. But she stayed in that marriage for such a long time. She was affected. Her children were affected. By the time she was, I think she probably was in like early 50s when she passed away. I remember going to visit her in the hospital. And at that point, she was trying to eat healthier. She was eating all like vegan diet. She was trying to drink more water. But she was at stage 4 when she was diagnosed. But she was in such fight or flight mode all the time that she didn't slow down enough to put herself first and to go checked out, like, what is going on with me? I'm feeling more tired than often. You're looking in the mirror and you're seeing there are changes in yourself. Maybe the way you show up energetically has changed. Would you slow down enough to take yourself to the hospital, to the GP, to your primary care to get checked out? That's the question here. So prevention is better than cure. Many people now try to backtrack, but if you can do this the reverse way in order to have a more wholesome, more quality of life, like I'm saying this, you're mentioning cancer here, but there are certain conditions such as even memory changes, like Alzheimer's. It's a real thing that happens to a lot of women that end up in a nursing home by the time they're 60. You retire, and next thing you know, boom, you die within a few years because your body has been through the ringers. Your body has literally gone through the ringers. The second way is finding ways to relax. So I talked about finding a therapist, a safe therapist. So vetting your counselors, vetting your pastors, vetting your friendships, vetting even your family members as you grow and evolve. And maybe your family members are not growing and evolving alongside you, and they're not respecting your boundaries. They're not respecting your preferences. It might be time for you to either no contact, or go modified no contact. So modified no contact would be maybe instead of checking in every day, you're checking in once a week. Instead of checking in once a week, you're doing once a month, or during the holidays only, and even that, you're only going there for maybe an hour instead of staying through the whole time. See, knowing your preference, knowing how you feel in your body when you sit with certain people, when you sit with your boss at work, your co-workers. Are those co-workers trustworthy? Is this the space for you to not be like, letting everything out because you are boiled in so much? Maybe it might be time for you to consider looking for a therapist. And like I said, even a therapist, you might have to find a couple good ones till you find the one that's best fit for you. Just because that person has the title therapist doesn't mean that they are your last resort. That's just because that person is a pastor, has the title pastor or prophet or whatever, doesn't just qualify them for all of a sudden them speak over your life, tell you that this and that, and then you take it without reasoning, without using your head. This is how we've been cultured, especially where I come from in Ghana, Africa. It's all conditioning. A lot of us women, especially, we've been conditioned to have so much reverence and respect for people like that, like counselors, pastors, teachers, whatever, doctors, lawyers, that whatever they say, we don't even question it. We just go with it and accumulating more stresses. So always finding yourself having to backtrack, having to do reverse track, having to, because you're like just trusting people blindly. You have to have the agency. You have to have acceptance for you and for your preferences to say, oh, that person might be a therapist, but I just don't like what they're saying. It doesn't align with me. And trusting your intuition and saying, what did they just say? That didn't sound right. That sounds like they're gaslighting me. And when you go, trust yourself enough to say, okay, I'm going to get a second opinion. I'm going to get a third opinion, and being okay with people judging you. Like, you're too much. Oh my God, you're too much for yourself. It's okay to be too much. Rather be too much than find out that you've had put up with being a people pleaser for so long that you're absorbing people's negative energy constantly, and here you are the one with this diagnosis. So yeah, my friend ended up passing away, but she tells me, she's like, Gina, I wish I knew some of this stuff like 3 years ago. She was on her deathbed. And I felt sad to see her go, and we did see her go. She has a funeral. But a lot of, people in my culture especially, they'll come to your funeral, they'll cry well. But you are the one who have gone. You have lost your children have lost out on your life. You not get to see them again. You not get to see your grandchildren, to see them graduate, to see them walk down the aisle, to see them thrive in life and have accomplishments. That is South Africa, and mom is from Botswana. Oh, such a good mix of culture there, Fato. Nice. I'm from Ghana. My mom is Ghana and my dad is LA. So we have different tribes in Ghana. So I'm a mix of two different tribes. That makes me me. And now in the US. But yeah, we are a mix of different things, and we pick and choose different things from our cultures, from our education, from different things. Like, I recently left a long-term friendship because she couldn't apologize and no respect. Oh yeah, that's big, especially in our friendships. We think, just having our friends, we call them friends, or just because we are aligned at a certain level, or because they've been through a certain trauma and we also have been through a certain trauma, so we are sharing the same trauma. Are we like trauma bonding? Sometimes it's just codependency and trauma bonding truly than true friendships, because true friendships also should be reciprocal. So if I do something wrong and I see what I did wrong and apologize, they should also be able to apologize when you express the fact that they've wronged you. But if you have a friend or even a sibling who is not willing to respect you or able to take accountability and apologize when they need to apologize, or you have to fast so much, is that relationship worth keeping? Like, you have to do so much work in order to keep that relationship going. It's literally eating you up and making you not sleep at night. It might be time to reconsider, because it might not be worth all the stress and all the cortisol level that are high in your system to cause you to have a diagnosis of cancer, or increase your risk. I take that back. Increase your risk for a cancer diagnosis. I'm on this internet street. I have to be careful with how I put my verbiage there. So yeah, thank you, Tato, for sharing that. Boundaries in friendship. So boundaries within yourself, even the things that you tell yourself, like, oh yeah, I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not worthy. Who do I think I am? Even I deserve that. I'm so dumb. I'm so this, I'm so that. But it's all from mentality, what you were exposed to, your environment, or how your parent treated you. If you're a narcissistic parent, or both of your parents are narcissistic, especially where we come from in Africa, most of our parents, most of our grown-ups there, and a lot of our men, our dads, our uncles, our grandparents are all narcissistic. They're very entitled. It's all about control. It's all about dominance. It's all about them. It's all about selfishness. There's no apology, there's no accountability, there's no empathy, there's no care. It's chaotic, it's very dark, critical approach. It's very cynical approach. It's very, I said critical already. You know what I mean? Yes, Tato. So you have to recognize where you come from, your own childhood, your people pleasing approach to doing life, and how you also present yourself in life to know, okay, this is my bandwidth. This is all I can tolerate, or this is what I cannot tolerate, and being okay with you as a person, rather than trying to twist yourself into a pretzel just to keep a relationship working, intimate relationship or otherwise. Is it worth it to have your cortisol level high all the time, to have your inflammatory markers so high all the time that your risk for attracting some of these chronic conditions are high? My brothers are narcs for sure. Yes, a lot of men in our culture are narcissistic, and if you know the definition of narcissism, it's like it's all about them. Very grandiose, very entitled. Everything is about them, them, them. Their way or the highway. They lack empathy. They lack care. They don't apologize. They'll run you over like a truck. They'll flatten you. And if you're a people pleaser, you are constantly being sucked into their vault, into their dark vault, and you're going to be spinning on a spinning wheel for the rest of your life if you stay in that relationship at your own demise. Yeah, laugh out loud is that. And then building a sense of hope. So third on the list on how to minimize that risk is building a sense of hope and finding joy in life. See, like my friend who passed away from that cancer diagnosis, she had breast cancer, I believe. Yeah, she had breast cancer. She fought it for maybe 2-3 years and she lost her battle. Yeah, she was trying to eat healthy, to backtrack, to have good community support, to find hope. She found Christ, and she became very strong in her faith. You know, when we came, oh yeah, thank you, Tato. I miss her every day. I remember her. She's like, Gina, look over there. Like, she was showing me there was a cross. There was a building right across from her room in the hospital. And she's like, hey, I know that God is looking over me. She really, really was hoping that she would survive the cancer, but it was too far gone. She waited. She was diagnosed, I think, stage 3, and it quickly progressed to stage 4. And it wasn't too long before she lost her battle with cancer. So it's really important for us to have hope, to cultivate some of this healthy habit, to recognize what our preferences are, to set boundaries, to drink water, to rest, to be okay with being in our own spaces rather than being in spaces where it's very high toxic, high conflict, chaotic, unpredictable. You're always feeling like you're walking on eggshells. That's no way to live. I'd rather be in a little small corner by myself than be in a big house where you're constantly feeling like you're a fly on the wall. You're literally a fly on the wall, disregarded, uncared for. And there's a lot of people in this world who are very, very unkind. And you'll be fooling yourself to think that the way you think about people regarding to loyalty, commitment, caring. Like, I'm such a caring person. That's why I am in this field. And I'm not just blowing my horn. I'll literally be like, hey, is there anything else I can do for you? Like, and when you have people like that who are empaths, I know there's so many of us, but the things that we do, like my friend that passed away, she's a complete empathetic person. Like, she will be so hopeful to her own fault. Like, she was believing her narcissistic husband or ex-husband would change for her because she's being nice, she's being kind. Nice girl, in my country, like, nice girl matter. Nice girl don't matter. Nice girls don't get anywhere. I learned that the hard way. Being nice, caring about what people thought about me. How even doing YouTube, being on YouTube, I used to be like so fearful to express myself because people would be like, judge me or think I'm too much. Listen, my friend, when I go see her, visit, it says her name on her tombstone, and it says when she was born, and it says when she passed away. That's it. It didn't say anything about, oh, and she was judged this way, and she was too much, and she was not respectful, and she was da 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 da, and she wore too much of lipstick, and why is she like that? And why should she talk like that? Why is her eyebrow like that? Why is her nose like that? Why is it da da da? People will always talk, whether we are doing something or not doing something. So do it and preserve yourself rather than not at all. Enjoy my company. OMG, me too. Nice girls. Finish last. Yes, Tato. Follow me for more videos like that. Check me out on this channel. Subscribe. Subscribe to my TikTok as well. But yeah, I talk about this all the time. Nice girls, especially nice girls that we've been cultured in Africa to believe. You have to be respectful. You have to be humble. You know, being a woman, you're supposed to be a feminine, but you're trying to be feminine for somebody who doesn't care about you and would never care about you. And we've had fathers like that. We've had uncles like that. We've had, especially if you were raised within a big family. In Africa, we have like the compound houses. You're grown where you have all these family entities. You have the dad, you have the stepdad, maybe even you have the uncle, the grandparents, all of it there. And everybody's like, the girl child is supposed to just be a servant, a maid, a meal. You're doing the chores, and the boy children are more entitled. They have more rights than we do. Like I said, at the cups of International Women's Day on March 8th, this video is like ahead of that. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to enjoy our companies. I did a video today on keep celibacy and maintaining our celibacy, abstaining and centering ourselves, like centering ourselves in terms of our finances, in terms of our education, in terms of our careers, in terms of our self-care preferences, putting ourselves first, going to the gym, drinking water, having good, healthy friendships, having faith. Even with faith, making sure you're vetting the type of church you go to. Not just because that church is a big church in your community, everybody goes there, that means a good fit for you. It might be all types of toxic people there who are going to re-traumatize you or traumatize you for all you know. Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you, Tato. So, yeah, finding hope, having a belief system is important. Thank you so much, Tato, for sharing. I like how you're engaging me in the conversation. Yes, guys, leave me a comment, and let's keep talking about this. So by managing stress, and really, if you've had trauma, especially childhood trauma, you have experienced neglect, you have experienced emotional abuse, sometimes physical abuse, because back home in Africa and even here in the US, people still use corporal punishment, like physical punishment for their children, and that leaves a mark. Like, you're growing up already with childhood trauma in your system. Your nervous system is literally shot. And then adding on top of it more trauma, on top of trauma, on top of trauma. How do you thrive to get over the fight or flight mode or the survival mode? It's hard. It's very difficult. So having faith in God, I believe in God, so that's why I'll say that. But you do have to have some type of faith in order to keep on having hope and setting things deferring to a higher power, because life can be difficult sometimes. Sometimes you feel like you're just like you're just like going down a rootless tunnel, okay, a vault. So having faith helps you tolerate every day, taking it every day, one day at a time. Finding joy and gratitude. So like today, if things are really hard for you, it's already March 3rd. It's 30th of March, and you're like, things are so hard. But what can you be grateful for? You're grateful for maybe your health. You're grateful for maybe if you have kids, your kids. You're grateful for maybe having a job. You're grateful for having food on your table. Like, so going back to the basics. You're grateful for being able to breathe air. You're grateful for friendships. You're grateful for whatever. What are you grateful for today in this March, third day of the new month? I like personal relationship with God. Yeah, personal. It's a personal journey. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is such a powerful statement. I don't go to church. Currently fasting with my Muslim friends to support her. Oh yeah, clap for you. That is awesome. we should all jump on that wagon, because not only fasting is good for us for our spiritual journey, but it's also great for cleansing. It's good for our GI system. It's actually been shown to abate certain cancers when you do intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is really good for physical health. It's also good for mental sharpness. Look, I can't talk. It's been a long day. Take a sip of my water. Last but not the least is learning how to have hobbies and activities you enjoy. So in my video that I made, that I'm yet to post, about celibacy and learning to enjoy our solitude, being alone or being single doesn't mean you're alone. See, if you're single, Tato, I'm sure you have friendships. So cultivating those friendships and learning to enjoy yourself. Even if your friend cannot come with you to go out, you learn to go out by yourself. And while you're out by yourself, you're not being like, oh my God, I'm out here by myself. I wish this, I wish that. No, you're actually present in the here and now. You're enjoying yourself. You are actually enjoying yourself enough to attract people who are also enjoying themselves to yourself. And that way you can grow your community with people who are like-minded like you. You're not trying to crop fit yourself to people who don't align with your preferences. I learned this the hard way, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so, so, so good. So finding hobbies. What are your hobbies? What do you do for a hobby? I know, like, doing YouTube, doing content creation, for me it's work, but it's also a hobby for me. I like doing yoga. I like reading. I like music. I like going to Pilates classes with a few friends. I like hiking. That's a great hobby. Sometimes I like snowboarding with my son. So finding a hobby that you enjoy is so important. So even when you feel idle or your friends are not around, you can get into your hobby. I would love to learn something like horseback riding. That would be a great additional hobby, but I don't know, it might be costly, so we'll see how that goes. But I might find some hobbies, additional hobbies, that might be costly. Oh, the other hobby that I want to get into is pickleball or playing tennis. So what are your hobbies, people? What is your hobby, Tato? I love to do things besides work that will be soothing to the soul. As much as we are physical being, we are spiritual as well. We are passing through this life. So how do we pass through and deal well and manage our stressors and manage our traumas and manage our depression and anxieties? Because hey, especially after the pandemic, all of us has a level of trauma we are healing from and ongoing stress, especially with the state of our world now. I live in the US, so you know what that means. There's a lot of instability and unpredictability that goes on the daily in my country, in the US. So really learning to manage those stresses so they don't turn into physical ailments like cancers. It's like bingo, you can play with that. Do you know how many times people have been diagnosed all of a sudden, like, oh my God, we didn't know she has any type of cancer? It's because maybe they never got checked out. They might not even have a GP to have yearly checkups. Do you get yearly checkups? Do you know to get yearly checkups? It's so important to get your blood work done, your urine work, your OBGYN, to check your breast, to make sure you know your body, to make sure if there's any discrepancy, you can catch it. So a lot of things to think about, but truly, I like music, cycling, spinning. Oh, I like that. Honestly, I need to get more hobbies. I know. I got this camera and I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm trying to take up photography. So that could be another hobby for me to take on. But that was an investment like 5 years ago, and I'm still yet to use it or use it for my content creation. But there's so much hobbies you can take on that's not pricey. But we have to, because the more we find things, Because life be lifing. There will be stress. And many of us who come, especially if you come from my type of world that I came from in Africa, we grew up with childhood trauma. How do we relieve those stressors from our nervous system? How do we reparent ourselves? How do we center ourselves in order to minimize all those inflammations and cortisol levels that build up in our system so we don't end up with cancers? That's a big question. Leave me a comment on that. Let's talk about that. How about that? What are things that you do to minimize stress, to repairing yourself? I did a video the last time on repairing ourselves. And that could look like what I'm talking about: eating healthy, drinking water, your 64 ounces a day. See, I like this because I can see what level it is. So as I drink it, I'm like, oh, it encourages me to drink water. Sorry, excuse me. My throat is dry, but I look for a glass one so I can see it. And then I can, kind of, oh, okay, I'm low. I top it up. And then I can meet my 64 ounce a day required amount for the day. Although it makes me get up in the middle of the night, but I don't mind it. And try to help myself relax, take some deep breath even when I wake up, and go back to sleep. It's all about helping ourselves regulate our nervous system in order to minimize and manage our stressors, in order to reduce our risk for cancers, in order to really reduce our risk for cardiovascular disease. I got this ring here. I budgeted for it. It's called the Aura Ring. That's another thing that monitors my sleep. I did a sleep study the last time to make sure I didn't have any sleep apnea, because I noticed that at one point when I had some weight on me, I was snoring. So I'm like, let me do a sleep study. So I had a referral, did a in-home sleep study. I didn't have sleep apnea, but I needed to monitor my sleep to see how long do I stay in REM sleep for. Do you know your sleep patterns? That's why your skin is flawless. Thank you. Yeah, hydrate is so important. My hobby is fixing bicycles. I like that. That's awesome. Thank you, Mac, for sharing that. Yeah, we need to have hobbies. Hobbies are important to carry us through the day, because at least after work, you look forward to doing something, even if for a few minutes. It can be so healing. It can take your mind off the rumination, the anxiety thoughts, the angry thoughts that can come up for something that somebody did to hurt you. So really managing that, having hope, having joy, having gratitude, knowing yourself, doing the checkups, reparenting yourself, managing your finances, getting a good stable work, getting diagnosed. Even neuropsych evaluation is important to see, do I have autism? Do I have Asperger's? Do I have ADHD? Or is it just trauma? Is it just depression? Is it just anxiety? Is it just I'm just having panic? Am I going through a traumatic experience? How is my body reacting to this person that I'm sitting before? Can I tolerate sitting before this person for days and days at a time? Is this workspace friendly for my nervous system, or should I look for alternative work?